Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this episode of School Business Tech. Today, we're going to be talking about automating schools with Microsoft's Power Platform. As you know, the administration that schools need and multi-academy needs to keep them operating correctly and functioning is absolutely phenomenal. You've got information and data coming in from all angles, from various systems that all needs to be synchronized and automated all at the same time. We know that EdTech is out there. We know there's lots of various systems and in an abundance. However, some organizations, some trusts, some schools have very specific needs, and getting that bespoke kind of customized system really doesn't fit within the allocated budget. However, we could be seeing a change. There is an emergence on no-code and low-code technologies, which Microsoft is actually leading the way on with their Power Platform, and education is one of the sectors that they're actually focusing on. So today I'm going to be joined by Nick Stewart, CEO of Nimbitech, who leads a team of developers who are literally working on Microsoft Power Platform. So these guys are no-code and low-code experts, but they have a background in software development, and they're bringing this passion and technology to the forefront and actually doing some work with schools. So Nimbitech is actually a purpose-driven organization that's all about ethics first and has an agile approach to their projects. Nick, who I managed to catch up with, actually started on a conversation where he was talking about supporting his child's school during the pandemic and helping them with their online learning using Microsoft's platform. And this has spun in the conversation basically about the work that he's been doing, and actually could this transfer across to education? So I'm really, really excited to have Nick join me today, because we wouldn't normally have a guest like this on, but he's got some extra special kind of insight that I think all our schools and multi-academy trusts watching today could really enjoy. So, hi, Nick. How you doing?
Hi, Ryan. Yeah, I'm really good. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's really, listen, it's great for you to join me, and thank you, because, we've had a number of conversations now, and I've really enjoyed them. And I just think the insight and the perspective that you've got is going to be really valuable to school business managers, chief operations, IT leads, all those CTOs in multi-academy trusts and schools that are actually going to be thinking, how do I improve performance? How do I improve operations? How do I automate processes and workflows in schools without using physical bodies, without using people? And they are very bespoke and they are very customized. And they have little nuances and tweaks that sometimes standard off-the-shelf EdTech platforms can't help. And this is really something that I think it'll be really great to hear what you've got to say on this. So if we could start with the first question, what is Microsoft Power Platform, and how can schools access this?
Sure. So Microsoft Power Platform is, you said it right a minute ago, it's a no and low code framework that Microsoft give to be able to build applications. So the way that I always describe it so that people can understand it is, if anybody's heard of like Wix or GoDaddy or WordPress for building websites, prior to that, you would have needed to have a HTML developer code your website for you, which would have been quite expensive. GoDaddy, Wix, WordPress, those types of frameworks really changed the game and allowed people, the common or small business, to have a website built quickly and easily. And exactly the same's now coming to fruition for applications. And that's really what Microsoft's Power Platform is all about. It's about bringing the barrier to entry for software development from hundreds of thousands of pounds, needing massive teams of developers, to almost to the point of being able to develop in-house with small amounts of resource.
And it's phenomenal, right? Because it's a great analogy that you use with the websites. I remember building, HTML websites back post just kind of turn of the millennium, that sort of, and it was hard work, right? And you got a crap result for a lot of hard work, and it was very specialist. I remember using like Macromedia and Flash and all this stuff, and they started helping, and that was an improvement. And then, today, literally, you can build a website for £22 a month or £10 a month, and it's really good. Like, they're really good kind of sites. So you're saying that that's basically what Microsoft are doing. They're trying to build that methodology, but around application development.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're in the age now where apps are abundant, and people want to build their own apps, but they don't want to have to pay astronomical prices, spend lots of time and money invested in doing that. They want something that's going to be able to develop quickly, be able to change quickly, because especially now more than ever, things change. And having a high code solution that's quite cumbersome to change and support, I think people are looking for an alternate option.
Okay, so how can schools then use Microsoft Power Platform? What can they do with it? How can it be used in schools?
Well, a lot of schools probably don't know that they've already got it within their existing licensing. So things like the A1, A3, I believe it is, and A5 licenses all have Power Apps natively within it available to use. There are some caveats to that. There are some integrations and data connections and things like that that can be slightly premium. But for the crux of it, it's really within your existing licensing. There's a multitude of ways that you could utilize Microsoft's Power Platform. Do you have a load of spreadsheets that you're filling in on a day-to-day basis that have almost become too big to be able to manage? I've seen spreadsheets with 40, 50 different tabs across the bottom that poor administrators, almost it's their day job to continually maintain that Excel spreadsheet. We want those people to be really doing more probably fulfilling tasks as opposed to just maintaining spreadsheets and things like that. So Microsoft Power Platform would allow you to take that Excel spreadsheet and turn it into a very lightweight app that's just much easier to do what you need to do from the front end, have all the data safely stored nicely in the back end, and be able to do reporting off of it. So the data would tell a story and be really visual, as opposed to looking at data in a cold Excel spreadsheet that nobody likes to really do or maintain, if we're honest.
And I think that's really interesting, isn't it? It's you mentioned about, and listen, I've worked in trusts in schools up and down the country, and there is an abundance of spreadsheets that are going on. There is an abundance of administration, manually inputting stuff from one system to the other, and I'm a big fan of automatic integrations, and I think there's, if people are watching the show before, they'll know I've talked about this. But we're talking about something different here, aren't we? This is integration, but with your own application rather than working between two existing systems.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is custom built, bespoke to you. So it's not you're having to bend your processes to meet the product that's being purchased. This is a clean slate, and what do you want it to do? What does it need to do? Where is the value in this application doing something for you?
Yeah, and so just on that point, can you give me any examples of where you've used Microsoft Power Platform just to help our audience today kind of visualize on the type of things of which are possible?
Yeah. Any forms that people fill in, usually people fill forms in, they get done on a bit of paper, they get looked at, and then they get shoved in a drawer often, and nobody actually uses the data that's captured within that form to do anything with. So we're very used to transforming forms into apps. And again, what that does is creates a data set for us to be able to put a reporting dashboard on to really tell a story about what that data is. So just to give another example, we created a very lightweight chatbot to help pupils with anxiety levels, and really a tool for teachers, really, as opposed to replacing the sort of teacher-child relationship. But the chatbot would allow a student to converse with a bot that would simply ask, "How are you?" And the pupil could respond in kind and say, "I'm great, I'm not so good today, I'm bad," those types of things. And we had logic built in around that, so that if, for example, the pupil said, I'm not really happy, sort of a couple of days in a row, then that a notification would be sent off to the teacher to advise that something might be wrong with Charlie. He's not really feeling good, and he's recorded this score over the last couple of days. And that was relatively easy for us to build, relatively quick. I think it was sub a month's worth of work for us to develop and get that into a deployable state.
And that's amazing. I mean, listen, we're about to go into admission season, right? And it's just going to be chaos. And I can tell you now, paper forms, that for people who want to complete applications or make inquiries, if they do, schools have just gone through a huge induction kind of program over the kind of June, July, where new starters are coming in and they have to gather all those. I personally, my daughter started reception. I had to fill out about 20 pieces of information. I think I had to fill it out like 3 times for the the kind of after school club, the school, all of that lot. And I was just like, this is just, not only is it a burden on me, but I'm then feeling very sorry for the person who has to manually type this in to a system. And you're telling me this could be automated, like schools up and down the country could no longer have to send all these paper forms home, but they could literally design a form that they wanted, have it, send it out to parents, have them complete it, and then get it sent all the way into some sort of report or spreadsheet or output, which they could then upload into their MIS. Yeah,
exactly. That's absolutely the case.
Well, I'm telling you now, Nick, if you're not getting inquiries at the end of this, I don't know what's going on. I don't know, because I know schools are struggling with that.
But that's the thing, Ryan. Unfortunately, that we're just trying to get the word out there that this stuff's available, and a lot of the time we find that people just aren't aware of the technology's capabilities now. Yeah. They don't realize that the barrier to entry for having a custom bespoke app built is now so low, because everybody's still got the slightly older thought of it's going to cost hundreds of thousands of pounds to build this app. It's simply not the case now.
And just going back to your earlier point about the A1 licensing with Microsoft, so how much does that cost per user for a school?
The A1 licensing is free, and I believe the A3 and the A5 is pounds. So we're not talking 30, 40, 50 pounds per student per month. I'm pretty sure in saying that the A3 is £6.50, something around that. So yeah, it's nothing that's going to break the bank.
So let me get this right. Schools have probably got this functionality available in their A1 license. And yeah, if they might need, depending on how complicated they're going to get, they might need the further license, but we're talking like pounds, Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, and I think this is the real thing which I wanted to get you on today was, just to kind of get that awareness, get people knowing that, that this sort of stuff is available to schools. It's available for them to be able to now think about and consider in that mix of other EdTech products, which is if there's something that doesn't quite meet our need, can we go and build it? Just as a bit of a side question, actually, what's the opportunity for, let's say, multi-academy trusts to build something, and then or a school to build something, and to kind of almost like resell it onto other schools if they make something that's really valuable? Is that a possibility now?
Absolutely the case. So that's something that Microsoft have made available more recently, but that's absolutely the case. So if a school was to work with a provider like ourselves to produce some sort of products that they felt had significance and had could give a lot of benefit to a lot of other academy trusts, they could put that on Microsoft's app store, what they call it, to offer other schools to sign up to use that product as well. So it could be almost a business opportunity at the same time as an opportunity to automate.
Crazy. So we could literally have schools building apps for other schools, in pretty much now, and actually, rather than, potentially money going out to other EdTech providers, actually it could be staying in the sector and they could be collaborating and working on stuff themselves.
Yep, 100%.
It is a very exciting future, very exciting future. So my final question for you, Nick, which I ask all my guests who come on the show, what's your predictions for school business tech over the next 3 to 5 years?
Great question. And I think the answer to that probably depends on what happens with COVID, maybe over the next couple of years, but whilst we're in this strange period. But I do think one thing that COVID has taught us is that whilst classroom learning is absolutely the preference, students can learn being at home. And I think maybe a bit of a hybrid model of having the availability to work from home if needed, to learn from home if needed, as well as classroom-based training. If you would ask me, I would say there's probably going to be a laptop on every single student's desk within the next 3 to 5 years. And will be much more online based learning, that I can take the laptop home. I don't have as many exercise books as I once did, although some people might not like that because I used to doodle on mine a lot.
I bet, yeah, me too.
But yeah, I see it really taking more of a hybrid approach. Things like homework would be done digitally on a laptop. I know that when we helped the school that you mentioned in the introduction to adopt Microsoft Teams, through that they were able to submit assignments. The teacher was able to assign assignments out to students. So great contingency for if COVID restrictions come back in, we go back into lockdown. They've always got that option to fall back on digital learning as opposed to physical learning. And I think that's probably going to continue.
Okay. Nick, Stewart, thank you so much. Really enjoyed the conversation today. Something very thought-provoking for any of our watchers who are going to be watching this. So, yeah, and always, please do get in touch with Nick and the Nimbitech team if you do have any further questions. My name's Ryan. I've been your host today on this afternoon's School Business Tech. Check us out. Make sure you check the LinkedIn, add us to the subscribers, follow us on YouTube, do all the bits on social that you need to do, share the word. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.